McMurphy. I've had my share of crushes on nurses. They're just so damn perfect. They're comfortable with their own bodies. They give great massages. They are untroubled by scars. In the TV series China Beach, Dana Delaney created an iconic character, Army Nurse Colleen McMurphy. She was tough, competent, caring, sexy, human. And her emotion was never self-indulgent, always earned. I very much admired her work in that show, and eventually I got to tell her so. But I digress. In the wards of 3rd Field Hospital in Saigon, 1969, Army officer nurses were stressed beyond belief. They contended daily with an abundance of young, broken bodies and shattered spirits. Some of their patients were not going to get any older. A few wished for an end to their pain. These women had to find that nurse's balance between caring for these men, yet maintaining some emotional distance. Each created her own formula, but many of them came home as haunted as the men for whom they'd cared. I have a picture of my nurse from Vietnam, but I can't remember her name. I searched in vain for years, wanting to tell her how much she had meant to me, how much they'd all meant to us at that fragile time in our lives. After about a week at 3rd Field, I was coming along. I had learned to shower with plastic wrapped around my thigh to prevent my metal sutures from rusting. I was still losing weight, still fed intravenously, and still very grateful to be around. My veins were all pretty tired, and one weary nurse was having a tough time getting my IV properly installed. She failed time after time, and I was losing patience. That shit really hurt. A spry, elderly bird colonel appeared beside her, sussed the situation, and without a word, relieved her of the needle. In one deft move, she inserted that IV into my challenged veins with certainty, smiled, and wheeled away. I exchanged a grateful smile with the younger nurse. We were both relieved. She'd been doing her best, and I'd never doubted that. But still, it's nice to find an old pro when you need one. At the end of my 2nd week, I overheard my doctors debating the removal of my trach. He's doing well. He's fought off infection. Maybe we can get him started on soft foods. Well, let's give it a bit more time. Later that night, I lay there, feeling a bit sorry for myself. There may have been a few tears in my ears. I'm not saying. I'd had nothing to eat or drink for 14 days. Into the darkness of the ward appeared my very favorite nurse, an anticipatory smile on her face, and holding a small Dixie cup of vanilla ice cream. She came to the side of my bed, saw that I was awake, and lifted a small spoonful of heaven to my lips. That remains the single most intense experience of flavor I have ever known. 2 more spoonfuls, each sweeter than the last, and then she put her finger to her lips to remind me this was our secret, and slipped out of the ward. I lay there in the dark, smiling with the memory of our tryst, eternally grateful for that kindness. I hope she knows how much I loved her in that moment. Now, my book was published in 2006, and this chapter was part of it. Someone bought my book, recognized the photo of my nurse, and he put us in touch. And that phone call that night was full of emotion for both of us. I'm never going to forget it. And after our conversation the next day, she wrote this to me by email. Dear Tucker, after reading your chapter about me, I am so back in Vietnam. What an honor to hear from you after so many years. To have a chance to tell you how much I loved you and all the brave young men I took care of is one of my greatest wishes. You all meant so much to me. I am so blessed to have taken care of such brave young men. I have felt truly honored since that experience. My caring touch, my smile, my compassion, my passion as a nurse to care for your wounds and to care for your spirit was truly my mission. In my 38 years as a nurse, that 1 year as a nurse in Nam pretty much shaped me in my nursing and in my life. I was forever changed. Some good, and some not so good. I too suffer from PTSD. I get counseling from time to time. But I have managed to raise 2 great kids and have been married for 36 years. Please believe me, it was such an honor to care for you and to help you heal. I am haunted each day about the hundreds of young men I cared for, wondering what happened to them. To know you made it makes me feel so warm in my heart. You all are forever imprinted in my heart. Please keep in touch, and hopefully we can meet someday soon, and I can give you a big hug. Love, Ellen. Your McMurphy.